November 7th, 2023. Florence, Colorado. 3:47 a.m. Officer Marcus Webb's radio crackled to life in the dead silence of ADX Florence's Control Unit 7. His hand instinctively moved to his belt. In a place where America's most violent criminals were buried alive in concrete tombs, a radio call at this hour meant only one thing. Something had gone catastrophically wrong. Control to Webb. We have a situation in cell block Delta. Officer down. I repeat, officer down. Webb's blood turned to ice. Delta block housed the absolute worst. Terrorists, cartel kingpins, serial killers who'd murdered other inmates just to prove a point. He'd walked those corridors for 6 years, and the cardinal rule was simple. Never let your guard down. Not for a second. He sprinted to the labyrinth of reinforced steel doors, each one requiring biometric clearance. His boots echoed against concrete walls designed to swallow sound, to crush hope, to break men who couldn't be broken anywhere else. As he rounded the corner to Delta Block, he saw them, 4 correctional officers huddled around something on the floor. The overhead fluorescent lights cast harsh shadows across their faces, and Webb could see the fear in their eyes. Officer Jennifer Holbrook lay motionless on the cold concrete, blood pooling beneath her head. Her eyes were open, staring at nothing. Webb had trained with her, shared coffee with her. She was 42 years old, mother of 2, and one of the toughest officers in the entire facility. What happened? Webb demanded, dropping to his knees beside her. Officer David Chen's voice shook as he spoke. She was doing the 0400 cell check. Standard procedure. When she didn't report back, we came looking. Found her like this, 10 feet from cell Delta 17. Webb's gaze snapped to cell Delta 17. The door was sealed. The food slot was closed. Everything appeared normal. But in ADX Florence, nothing was ever what it appeared to be. Who's in 17? Webb asked, though part of him already knew the answer. Vincent Marcello. Chen whispered the name like a curse. Vincent Marcello, the ghost of Chicago. A mob enforcer turned federal informant turned triple-crossing psychopath. He'd orchestrated 14 murders from inside a maximum security prison before being transferred to ADX. The man was a legend in the worst possible way. Brilliant, calculating, and utterly remorseless. Webb stood slowly, his heart pounding. Check the cell. Now. 2 officers approached Delta 17 with tactical precision. One swiped his keycard while the other kept his hand on his taser. The magnetic locks disengaged with a heavy clunk. The door swung open. Vincent Marcello sat cross-legged on his concrete bunk, hands folded in his lap, a slight smile playing at the corners of his mouth. He was 58 years old, gray hair slicked back, prison jumpsuit perfectly pressed despite the impossibility of such a thing. His cell was exactly 7 feet by 12 feet. No windows. No furniture except the bunk. A stainless steel toilet. A concrete desk. Nothing that could be used as a weapon. Nothing except the human mind. "Good morning, officers," Marcello said softly, his voice like silk over razor blades. "I see you found Officer Holbrook. Tragic, isn't it? Such a dedicated woman. Her children must be, 14 and 16 now." Webb's fist clenched. "What did you do?" Marcello's smile widened. "Me? Officer Webb, I've been in this cell for 23 hours today. You can check the surveillance footage. I haven't left this room. I haven't touched that door. I am, as your facility so proudly claims, completely isolated from the outside world." "Then how? How did Officer Holbrook end up with a crushed skull 10 feet from my cell?" Marcello interrupted, his eyes glittering with dark amusement. "That, Officer Webb, is a question, isn't it? Perhaps you should ask yourself what else might be possible in a place where men are locked away and forgotten, where guards become complacent, where routines become predictable, where desperation makes people do, shall we say, unexpected things." Webb's radio crackled again. "Medical is en route. But, Webb, we have a problem. The surveillance footage from Delta Block corridor. It's corrupted. Last 4 hours are completely wiped." Marcello's smile never faltered. "Technology can be so unreliable, can it?" Webb stepped closer to the cell, his voice dropping to barely above a whisper. if you had anything to do with this. Then what, officer? You'll put me in isolation? I'm already in the most isolated facility in America. You'll add years to my sentence? I already have 6 consecutive life terms. There is nothing you can do to me that's worse than this concrete tomb. Marcelo leaned forward slightly. But there's so much I can still do, even from here, especially from here. Webb's blood ran cold as the full implication hit him. If Marcelo could orchestrate an officer's death from inside a locked cell with no physical contact, no weapons, and no apparent means, then no one in ADX Florence was safe. Not the inmates, and certainly not the guards. Chin appeared at Webb's shoulder. We need to lock this down. Full facility alert. But as Webb turned to leave, Marcelo called out one last time. Officer Webb, give my condolences to Officer Holbrook's family. And do tell Officer Sarah Mitchell I said hello. She's working the morning shift tomorrow, isn't she? Cell block Echo. Quite the promotion from Delta. I hear Echo houses some very, very dangerous men. Webb froze. Sarah Mitchell was his partner, his friend, and Marcelo had just threatened her, without saying a single threatening word. One more thing, Marcelo added, his voice barely audible. Check Officer Holbrook's locker. I think you'll find something interesting. Something that explains everything. Or perhaps something that makes everything so much worse. As Webb walked away from cell Delta 17, Jennifer Holbrook's body being loaded onto a stretcher behind him, one thought consumed his mind. In a prison designed to contain the most dangerous criminals in America, they just discovered something terrifying. The concrete tomb had a crack in it, and Vincent Marcelo had found it. But when they opened Jennifer Holbrook's locker 30 minutes later, what they found would turn a tragic accident into something far more sinister. Something that would expose a conspiracy reaching into the very heart of ADX Florence. Something that would make every guard question who they could trust. Because inside that locker, hidden beneath folded uniforms and personal belongings, was a burner phone. And on that phone was a single text message, sent just hours before her death. It's done. When do I get paid? The burner phone sat on Warden Catherine Price's
Listen up,
desk,
everyone. The situation is
like a loaded
escalating,
gun.
and we need to move
6 a.m.
decisively.
emergency
Any questions
briefing.
before we deploy?
Every senior officer in ADX Florence crammed into the administrative conference room, faces pale under the harsh lighting. Outside, the sun was rising over the Rocky Mountains, painting the concrete fortress in shades of blood orange. Inside, Truss was dying. Jennifer Holbrook was dirty, Warden Price said, her voice cutting to the shocked silence. The question is, how dirty? And who else is compromised? Marcus Webb stood against the back wall, arms crossed, mind racing. He'd worked alongside Jennifer for 3 years, trusted her with his life. And now, he didn't know what to believe. David Chin stepped forward, tablet in hand. We traced the phone number. It's registered to a shell company out of Las Vegas. Dead end. But we pulled the call logs. 17 outgoing calls in the past 6 months. All to the same number. All under 5 minutes. Classic tradecraft for criminal coordination. Who was she calling? Officer Sarah Mitchell demanded from across the room. Her face was drawn, exhausted. She'd been pulled from her shift the moment they discovered a connection to her name in Marcelo's veiled threat. We don't know yet, Chin admitted. The receiving number is encrypted, routed through multiple international servers. FBI's Cyber Crimes Unit is working on it. Webb's jaw tightened. What about the text message? It's done. When do I get paid? What was done? Warden Price pulled up security footage on the main screen. We recovered partial footage from a backup server. Watch. The grainy video showed Jennifer Holbrook walking the Delta Block corridor at 3:30 a.m. Standard Patrol. She stopped at cell Delta 17, looked around, then did something that made every officer in the room inhale sharply. She opened the food slot, not to deliver a meal, not to conduct a welfare check. She opened it and stood there for exactly 47 seconds. Her body language was tense, hunched, as if listening. Then she closed the slot, took 3 steps backward and collapsed. Rewind it, Webb commanded. Zoom in on her face. The footage replayed in slow motion. Jennifer's expression shifted from nervous concentration to sudden, absolute terror. Her hand flew to her throat. Her eyes went wide. Then she crumpled like a puppet with cut strings. "Poison," Sarah whispered. "Oh my God, he poisoned her." "Impossible," Chin countered. "Marcelo hasn't had physical contact with anything from outside his cell in 8 months. Every item that enters that cell is screened. Food, water, mail, everything. There's no way he could have obtained poison, let alone administered it." Webb's mind clicked through the possibilities, each one more disturbing than the last. Unless she brought it in herself. The room fell silent. Warden Price nodded slowly. "That's our working theory. Jennifer was being paid to smuggle something into Marcelo's cell. But instead of paying her, he used whatever she smuggled to kill her. The ultimate insurance policy. Dead women tell no tales." "What was she smuggling?" Sarah asked. "We searched his cell top to bottom," Chin said. "Found nothing. Absolutely nothing out of the ordinary. Which means whatever was, either Marcelo already used it, destroyed it, or hid it so well our searches can't detect it." Webb pushed off the wall, his voice urgent. "We're asking the wrong questions. We should be asking why. Why would Marcelo need Jennifer's help? What's his end game? He's locked in the most secure prison in America. He has 6 life sentences. What could he possibly be planning?" Before anyone could answer, the conference room door burst open. A junior officer, face flushed, breathing hard. "Warden, we have another situation." Cell block echo. "Inmate Carlos Rivera. He's demanding to speak with Officer Webb. Says he has information about Holbrook's death. Says if we don't bring Webb within the hour, 3 more guards are going to die." Sarah's face went white. "Carlos Rivera? El Fantasma? He and Marcelo are mortal enemies. They've been trying to kill each other for 15 years. "Exactly," the junior officer said. "Which is why Rivera says he'll only talk to Webb. Says Webb is the only one he trusts isn't on Marcelo's payroll." Webb felt every eye in the room turned toward him. Carlos Rivera was one of the most dangerous men in ADX. Former leader of the Sinaloa Cartel's Enforcement Division, responsible for at least 40 murders. And now he was offering information? Warden Price locked eyes with Webb. "Your call, Marcus. But if Rivera is telling the truth, if there really are more compromised officers, we need to know. Now!" Webb's gut churned. Walking into Echo Block to face a cartel enforcer who claimed to have insider knowledge about a conspiracy inside ADX Florence was either the key to solving Jennifer's murder or a trap that would end with him joining her in the morgue. "I'll do it," Webb said, "but I want full tactical backup, and I want that interview recorded from 6 different angles. If I'm walking into the lion's den, I want proof of what happens there." Chin nodded. "Done. We move in 20 minutes. As the room emptied, officers scrambling to prepare for what might be the most dangerous interview in ADX history. Sarah grabbed Webb's arm. "Marcus, this feels wrong. Rivera doesn't help anyone unless it benefits him. Why now? Why you?" Webb looked at her, saw the genuine fear in her eyes, and realized Marcelo's threat hadn't been empty. Sarah was in danger. They all were. "Because," Webb said quietly, "whatever's happening in this prison, it's bigger than one dirty guard and one dead body. Marcelo said something to me. He said the concrete tomb has cracks in it. I think we're about to find out just how deep those cracks go." 23 minutes later, Marcus Webb stood outside cell Lecanine, staring through the reinforced glass at Carlos Rivera. The cartel enforcer sat calmly on his bunk, hands folded, a knowing smile on his weathered face. When their eyes met, Rivera spoke 2 words that changed everything. "Hello, brother." Marcus Webb's world tilted on its axis. The word brother hung in the air like a death sentence. Behind him, he heard Sarah's sharp intake of breath, felt the weight of every camera recording this moment, capturing his reaction for analysis, for judgment, for evidence. "I don't know what game you're playing, Rivera," Webb said, his voice steady despite the chaos in his mind. "But I don't have a brother." Carlos Rivera's smile widened, revealing gold-capped teeth. "No. Tell me, Marcus, what was your mother's maiden name? What happened to your father when you were 6 years old?" Why did social services change her last name from Delgado to Webb? The blood drained from Webb's face. Those were details he'd buried, secrets he'd hidden even from himself. His childhood before the foster system was a blur of pain and fragmented memories he'd spent 20 years trying to forget. That's right. Rivera continued, standing slowly, approaching the glass. Miguel Delgado, our father, El Jeef's right-hand man, until the feds put 3 bullets in him during that warehouse raid in Juarez. You were taken by Child Protective Services. I was 14, already running with the cartels. We were separated, but I never forgot about my little brother. Webb's training screamed at him to shut this down, to walk away, but his feet wouldn't move. You're lying. Am I? Check your birth certificate. The real one, not the amended version. It's all there. Rivera pressed his palm against the glass. I've spent 15 years in this tomb, Marcus. 15 years watching you walk these corridors, never knowing your own brother was locked away 20 feet below you. Sarah's voice crackled through Webb's earpiece. Marcus, get out of there. This is manipulation. Classic cartel tactics. But Webb couldn't move, because deep in his fractured memories, he saw flashes. A teenage boy teaching him to throw a baseball. A woman crying. Sirens. Blood on concrete. The pieces were assembling into a picture he'd spent his entire adult life running from. Why now? Webb demanded. If you knew all this time, why tell me now? Rivera's expression darkened. Because Vincent Marcello knows too. Jennifer Holbrook wasn't just smuggling contraband. She was smuggling information. Your file. Your history. Marcello's been building leverage, recruiting dirty guards, preparing for something big. And his insurance policy? Exposing you as the son of a cartel lieutenant. Destroying your career, your reputation, everything you've built. Webb's hands trembled. What's his end game? An escape, Rivera said simply. Not just him. A coordinated breakout. 6 of the most dangerous inmates in ADX. He's been planning it for 2 years. Jennifer was just one piece. There are others. Guards you trust. Guards you work with every day. Who? Webb's voice was barely a whisper. Rivera leaned closer. That's what I'm offering you, brother. Names. Dates. The entire conspiracy. But only if you help me. Only if you remember where you really came from. Before Webb could respond, alarms erupted throughout the facility. Red lights flashed. The automated voice boomed over speakers. Lockdown initiated. Security breach in cell block Delta. All personnel report to stations immediately. Chen's voice exploded through the radio. Webb, get back here now. Marcello's cell is empty. I repeat, Marcello's cell is empty. Webb ran. Through corridors, past panicked officers, his mind reeling from Rivera's revelation. When he reached Delta Block, chaos reigned. Cell Delta 17's door hung open, twisted off its hinges from the inside. Impossible. The locks were magnetically sealed, reinforced steel, designed to withstand explosive charges. Sarah met him at the entrance, face pale. The lock mechanism was corroded. Acid. Someone's been feeding him acid in small doses for months. He dissolved the internal components, 1 drop at a time. Jennifer, Webb breathed. Gets worse, Chen said, appearing with a tablet. We just found this in the ventilation system above his cell. A smartphone, connected to the prison's Wi-Fi network. He's had internet access for God knows how long. Webb stared at the phone, understanding crashing over him like a wave. Marcello hadn't just corrupted Jennifer Holbrook. He'd built an entire network. Communication with the outside world. Coordination with other inmates. Access to files, including Webb's sealed records. Sound to full alert, Webb commanded. Lockdown every. The lights went out. Emergency generators kicked in, bathing everything in red. And then, over the intercom, Vincent Marcello's voice, smooth and triumphant. Good morning, ADX Florence. For 2 years, you've kept me in a concrete tomb. Today, I'm walking out the front door. And Marcus Webb, or should I say Marcus Delgado, thank you for being exactly where I needed you. Sometimes the best way to break a prison isn't through the walls. It's through the cracks in the men who guard them. Webb's blood ran ice cold as he realized the truth. Rivera's confession, the timing, the lockdown, it was all orchestration. Marcelo had manipulated every piece, including him. The real question was, how many other guards were already in Marcelo's pocket? And more terrifyingly, was Rivera telling the truth about the escape, or was he part of Marcelo's plan too? As tactical teams swarmed the facility and helicopters thundered overhead, Marcus Webb stood in the empty cell of America's most dangerous criminal and faced a horrifying reality. The concrete tomb's biggest weakness wasn't its walls or its locks. It was the human beings who believed they were immune to corruption, to manipulation, to the patient, calculated evil of men like Vincent Marcello. Somewhere in the chaos, Marcello was moving toward freedom, and Webb had just become the key to either stopping him or helping him escape. The hunt had begun.